Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237. This is John, coming at you with another horror film review. This time it's a 80s slasher film that I literally just got done watching for the first time. That is the cult classic Slumber Party Massacre. Now, I've heard of this movie for a long time, never actually seen it in person. Actually, no. I think there's a triple pack where you can get all three, because somehow this got sequels. Well, I shouldn't say that. A bunch of crappy ones in the 80s got sequels. My girlfriend and I, we were doing some running around today, and every weekend there's a flea market that's open. And so I was looking through the DVDs, and they're only $1. And I'm trying to build up a much bigger slasher collection than I already have. So I figured, why not check this out? And right off the bat, well, one, I think it's funny. It doesn't look like any of these girls are actually in the film. The weapon of choice is a power drill, the biggest power drill I've ever seen. And what's really funny, the best part of this movie is the DVD menu, which, look, I don't know if you can see that, but a meat cleaver. There's not a meat cleaver in this entire movie. Now, this was directed by, well, this says Amy Jones, but I thought, directed by Amy Jones, and this trilogy is known as being the only or the first horror series to be directed primarily by women. Originally, this was going to be sort of a parody, which this came out in 1982, which is really surprising because I knew this movie was self-aware, self-referential, and almost like a self-parody of slasher films. So for some reason I thought this came out like 86, 87, or 88. But 82, that was sort of like the peak of slasher films. And I mean, there's not much I can say about it. Is it the worst I've ever seen? No. But it's still not that great. Story, there's not much to it. I mean, the lead girl, her parents are going away for the weekend, so she has all her friends come over for a slumber party. This serial killer has, I think, escaped from prison or escaped from somewhere, and just for no reason starts stalking them. Actually, doesn't even stalk them, he just shows up and starts killing them all. You get a couple random death scenes in the beginning. You know, it opens up at school, the girls are at school, then it takes forever to get to the slumber party. Like, this phone repair woman gets killed at school. The kills, there's not much to them. You would think in 1982, because, I mean, by 82, you already had, just in the 80s alone, you had Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th Part 2. Friday the 13th Part 3 was out in 82. You had My Bloody Valentine, you had Maniac, you had Happy Birthday to Me, which I haven't seen in about 10 years. I remember not liking it. I'd have to give it another look. I know that has inventive deaths. But, you know, The Burning, I think, The Prowler, I think, was out. The point is, been a lot of slashers, and on top of Madman was out, but point is, they could have had some better deaths. It is bloody, I'll give it that. But the thing about this movie is that the deaths, either there's a cut right as the drill's about to hit someone, or you just see the aftermath. Most of the characters are fucking annoying. In fact, so you have, I think it's like 4 girls, then there's these 2 boys who are like friends of theirs from school. They're hanging outside. They watch him undress. They watch him hang out. Then they pull a prank by hitting the power fuse. And those two boys were both in Friday the 13th Part 5. One of them was one of the greasers with the broken down car. The other one was the stuttering kid. So, oh, okay, they got two guys from Friday Part 5. That's neat. Other than that, there's nobody in it. You get this one girl who, in the beginning, they're in the locker room, and they're talking shit about this one girl. And she overhears, so then one of the girls like, well, hey, no, don't worry about it. Do you want to come to the slumber party? And she gets all upset. It's like, no, I can't make it. So I thought, naturally, okay, maybe she's going to have something to do with the killing. Maybe it's going to be like a Carrie type thing. Not at all. She's actually one of the survivors. Spoiler alert. But yeah, that girl's a next door neighbor. Her parents just divorced, and she's just hanging out with her younger sister. Which the younger sister, I know her name. It's Courtney, because they say it a bunch. And how could I forget that character? Because she is so fucking annoying. This girl, I think she's supposed to be like she acts like an 11 or 12-year-old, but she looks like she's 16, 17. Like there's a part, like she's always just like, like always pouting, just like, well, I want to go to the party. Or, you better not tell Mom. Like, there's one part where the older sister's giving her shit, and she has, like, this big-ass, like, cartoon lollipop. And also, where this was supposed to be a parody, there's a lot of humor in it. For example, I was like, wow, I can't believe they went there. The part where it's showing the two sisters, and the older one's talking on the phone, so the younger one goes in her room, takes her Playgirl magazine, which has Stallone in it. And then later on, the older one goes back into the younger sister's room to talk to her. Sees her magazine, he's like, oh, nice, you pervert. And then she sits down next to her, she picks up a banana peel. And the younger sister's like, oh, leave it alone. I'm just like, banana peel? Really? See bananas? Okay. And like the back says, you bring the pizza, I'll bring the drill. Because, even the whole thing where they order pizza. I know this review's all over the place, but that's because there's not much to this movie. Very much at all. They go to answer the door for the pizza guy. When they do, like, both his eyes are drilled out from behind. And the killer's behind him. So then, like, later on, there's, like, 3 girls left. They're sitting around the pizza guy, and they're like, he's dead alright. And they're like, oh, he's cold. And there's one girl, like, reaches underneath and is like, is the pizza cold? And they're just like, oh, really? And she's like, eating makes me feel better. And then she eats the pizza. So I can see where they went with the humor. I guess these movies are considered to be very feminist. Not like today's feminism, like with Ghostbusters and shit. But, because back then slasher films were found to be very sexist. And actually the director, she made it so like a lot of the female deaths sort of happen off camera. The guys get usually some of the worst deaths. The fact, the whole thing with the power drill being like a phallic symbol. And at the end, the one girl takes a machete, cuts his bit in half. Which I'm going to call... Actually, I'm going to get to the bullshit in a second. But, the director also plays with a lot of the, misogynistic tropes of a slasher film. Like, when they're in the locker room, it was shown from, like, here up, and they'll be, like, talking. But then the camera would just, like, pan down to see their ass and then look back up. Because gratuitous nudity was a huge thing in slasher films, so it's just like, I guess to show you how pointless some of those like ass shots are. It's like, okay, but I guess the whole like phallic symbol and feminism kind of becomes more apparent with the sequels. So I'm gonna call bullshit. I've never known, even if a drill is this big, I've never known a power drill, like, if you swing it at someone, you'll just be able to cut them. One guy gets cut, and then someone else gets, like, cut deep enough across the stomach to kill her. And then it's like, she takes the machete, just, ting, hits his drill bit, and it breaks in half. But then she has to, like, hack away at his hands. It's just like, either he's got tough bones or that's the weakest drill bit in history. Also, there's, like, one part where he has, like, a knife and he's just walking towards this girl, and it's literally like he just goes, and you hear, like, the, like, but it hits, like so slow motion. It's not even in slow motion, it just looks that way. The acting's terrible. Like, I know, maybe this movie's just very clever. Maybe the acting is terrible and everything is just so crappy because it is self-aware. Maybe I just don't see through the cleverness. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, some of the death scenes or the aftermath was actually kind of cool. There's this one girl whose boyfriend comes over to the slumber party. He stays in his car in the garage. She goes in, says, hey, I'm going to go out with him and come back. When she goes out to the garage, she gets back in the car and she, like, puts her hand on his shoulder to kiss him, and his head falls back. So that was kind of cool. There was one humorous scene where the younger sister of the neighbor girl, she keeps wanting to go over to the party because she has her oldest sister do her hair and makeup. She wants boys to see her. And then she just goes over anyway, like she walks over like, when the older sister's trying to find her. So they're over in the house. They don't know where anybody is because they're pretty much all dead at this point. And the younger sister's like, oh, I'm hungry. And she goes to open the fridge. But, like, she only, like, the door's here and she opens it, but we can see what's in the fridge. But she keeps looking at her sister. She's like, no, come on, let's go. And so she shuts it. And she's like, but I'm thirsty. Opens it again. And every time she opens it, we see that one of the dead girls is in the fridge. And, which, one, like, I know Jason sets up, and Michael Myers will set up dead bodies. But putting a girl in the fridge, like, you gotta take out all the shelves, you gotta take out all the contents, and there's nothing around in the kitchen. And also the girl keeps, like, almost falling out of the fridge, but when the other girl just goes, like, push it shut, she's just like, that's a dead body, that's probably a lot of weight. I know slasher films, or horror movies in general, can have, like, sweater thread logic. You pull one thread, it all falls apart, but I mean, this really is, would this be considered sleazy? I don't know. Like, I consider, like, Maniac and Nightmares in a Damaged Brain, I consider that to be sleazy. This, I guess it's cheesy. But when there was actual kills, you know, I thought it wasn't bad. I mean, from what I remember, because I started collecting slashers back, like, almost 10 years ago. So a lot of them I haven't even seen since then. Like Prom Night, I haven't seen in forever. Humongous, House on Sorority Row, I haven't seen in a long time. I don't remember caring for them that much. I have to go back and watch them. This is one that I probably never have to watch again. I mean, it's nice to have for the collection. I'm not that interested in the sequels. But, I mean, I guess it was nice to kind of, oh, hey, I finally saw Slumber Party Massacre. There's another one for the list. But yeah, the kills are not much. The story is nothing. It was just like, hey, we haven't done a slumber party yet, or an uninteresting guy with a power drill. So let's do that. But yeah, I don't really have anything much on this movie. Slumber Party Massacre. If you have to see every slasher film, I guess go for it. Or if you can find it for $1, like I did, then sure, go pick it up. But, I mean, it sounds stupid saying it's obviously not The Burning. It's obviously not Maniac or Friday the 13th. You know, there are other ones out there that I heard were pretty good, like you can't find He Knows You're Alone. You can't find Don't Answer the Phone. A lot of those super obscure ones. Somehow this one became a cult hit. But yeah, anyway, that's all I got for that. So for room 237, I'm out. Thank you.